this without crying. Obviously not. I just really wanted to come here and honor you today. Because when I think of anything profound that I've learned, it really comes from you. A lot of it comes from you. I remember when I first met you at that little vihara in Nevada, before the monastery was even around. I remember going there and sitting all night long thinking, what is it that these people are doing? That was my first invitation to any of this. And I just have learned a lot from you. I think that when I think of the biggest thing I've learned from you is acceptance. I remember, quite a few years ago when I had the beginning of a physical condition, and I remember saying, what is this? And, okay, I can accept this. I can accept this until it goes away. And you kept saying, and it might not, you kept finishing my sentences with, and it might not go away. And I kept saying, I don't know if you remember that conversation.
I think so, yeah.
And I said, I can, okay, I got it, acceptance. I know what acceptance is here, and I can accept this until it goes away, And you just kept correcting me, and that correcting stayed with me for forever. And, in this concept of inviting it in, just like a stranger coming to your door. I remember a conversation about you telling me, there's a difference. Someone comes to your door and you don't expect them, and bang, 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 they come in your door, and it shakes your world up a little bit, and you get resistant. But if you have invited them in and you have said to come in, then when they knock on your door, you just open the door and you say, come on in. And those two conversations, there's many, many I could go on, but those two conversations have stayed with me through every situation I've ever been in, because that's really all it takes, is to invite it in and just accept whatever is there. And so, thank you so much.
It's a kind of Buddhist version of Mikasa Sukasa, which somebody on one of those Thanksgiving retreats rendered as Mi Patipano is Supatipano. It's a kind of Pali joke.
I'm Thai. I wonder, can you speak Thai still?
ได้นิดเดียว
ได้นิดเดียวเบชัดมากค่ะ ขอบคุณมาก Thank you. I want to translate. He said he can speak a little bit. So I live in this country for about 22 years, and I'm pretty new to Spirit Rock. And first time I came here, I think it was you, Jack, taught. I think the amount of the audience about the same, and I really touched by the whole experience and your talk. And I commit to coming over here once a month now, and I really enjoy it. And today I'm really sad that I know that you're leaving and moving back to England. And I would like to thank you. I really enjoy your teaching. And I really, it's amazing that I have to cross the Pacific to learn Buddhism from British monk. Chanting with a British Pali accent. And I actually chant along with you too. So Well, even though I'm laughing, I'm still sad that, I don't know if I can afford to fly to England to to really listen to, your teaching. But I really appreciate. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
เจริญพรนะ
Will you be back at all to teach?
The future is uncertain.
ไม่แน่
I had a very high recommendation to meet you when I saw the Dalai Lama bow very low, and you touched foreheads together at a teaching. And I said to myself, I would like to meet that man. And I actually crossed paths with you in the line at that teaching, and I've enjoyed, although I haven't been often to see you speak, I've enjoyed every time. And your monastery and all the monks that were there as well were very gracious. It was a lovely energy to be there. And I remember driving out to the coast. I spent a couple days up there and just chanting that last blessing and prayer. I couldn't stop saying it because it's so powerful, and I will take that with me. And I want to thank both you and Jack, because knowing that teachers like you are here on this earth at this very, very powerful time, it makes me feel much safer to know that we are on the path and we are awakening. And we are all here so grateful, I think, to have been an audience, to share time with you and take what we have learned from you and all the teachers you bring to this community and to the Bay Area to awaken us. And hopefully we will take that and spread that and continue that for all of us to come to the light.
I feel so beginner being here. This is my first time at Spirit Rock, and so I'm sort of overwhelmed with the feeling that that you're handing me a broken cup, that I'm just learning from you and you're leaving, and so that feels really, really overwhelming. And I'm so grateful for this lesson that I was apparently brought here to learn, which is that I think in some ways that our teachers are not the ones that stay with us for so long, but come to us with exquisite impermanence. So I thank you.
Ajahn Chah only stayed with his teacher Ajahn Mun for 3 days. So it doesn't have to take long. If that's any consolation.
I actually want to thank you for one moment. It was one of the most powerful moments I have had, I think, in my life. And it was at our winter solstice all day when you took us through our death after a day of meditating. And the meditation, and you told us to pay attention to what we couldn't let go of. And I was fine. I was thinking about my death. It was great until my kids showed up. And it was just very painful. But the moment was when the gong went. And I had the most unbelievably light feeling, like, oh, this is okay. This is a release, and I often think of that because it was just so powerful. And because it was the winter solstice, and my kids were flying around the world, they both turned it up that night, in the middle of the night. And the whole holidays was incredibly different. It was so deep, and I often reflect back to that, and I've told like 1 million people that story of that day. So I thank you.
Ajahn, there's so much I can say. There's so much I've learned over so many years. I remember when you first came to speak in Berkeley, and it was at James's class, his Thursday class, but it was in Albany. I don't even remember how long ago that was. And Buddhism's hard work. And when I heard you speak that evening, I still remember the humorous tale you told and how much I laughed. And that's what it brought to me for this practice, was that lightness, that there was still humor, there was still this liveliness. And a friend was just asking me, well, who is this Ajahn Amaro, this fellow you're going to see? And I just said, he's the happiest guy I know. And people get that. And so your teaching has been so great. It's been so important for my life. And it's been a blessing that you've been here these years. And I thank you.
I just noticed that it's remarkable to be in a place with a person who I feel just the experience of love with on this day, a Father's Day, having a difficult father relationship. And I feel I've really gotten from you this experience of love in the broadest sense. And it's really very moving. I'm very grateful.
You're a good daughter.
You're the only one who thinks so. Nice to hear, isn't it?
Happy Father's Day, Ajahn. It's so great.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Hear what he said earlier about that.
Oh, since no one else has brought it up, I will. I'd like to thank you for your support over now. I think it's 8 years, excuse me, for our odd little Sangha of bicycling Buddhists. The 150-mile ride, which is now in its, if I count right, 9th year, starts here at Spirit Rock with a send-off from yourself and maybe other teachers from Spirit Rock. And over 2 days, 150 miles, this golden thread stretching up and ending at Abhayagiri Monastery. Your support of that has been wonderful over the years. Thank you very much. It's often over 100 degrees when we do this ride, and it's sort of the crucible of it's literally where the rubber hits the road of Buddhist
and sticks there, right?
Yes, of Buddhist spiritual thought. You between the monastery and here, you've taught us sitting meditation, and then how walking meditation fits into that. And I had no idea that bicycling meditation was what came next. But after those 3 steps, that was the jumping off point. And hearing there's really no difference between when you're sitting and when you're not. It's just all the same. That's a teaching I can't remember where I've heard that from. One or the other, maybe both of you. So thank you both very much.
I just have a short gratitude. I listened to your chanting when I'm at home, and it just opens my heart. I'm going to miss your loud, deep voice and have a question. Did you have voice training when you were young?
I used to fantasize being a rock and roll singer.
Really? I mean, it's so clear and it's so
it resonates in such a beautiful way. But I have your tapes, so I CDs. So I can listen. I do listen to them. I was thinking earlier when someone was saying that their gratitude. What I'm grateful for is I can play that when I'm feeling kind of. It's like a lullaby. In an odd way, it's like a lullaby. It's very comforting and reassuring. So, thank you.
Can you download it from iTunes? Is there a...
You can download it from our website.
There we are. Dharma Seed as well.
We don't have a long history. It's a little over 8 hours. I'm pretty sure of that because I'm definitely sure I would have remembered sitting with you before. And I'm very grateful to have been here today. Maybe this last chance, who knows? But and also when you were saying, driving down Highway 101, this may be the last time. It's that way for all of us every day. Mm-hmm. And that came to me as you were saying that. I want to thank you so much for your embodiment of wit and wisdom. I'm afraid I've had an inkling in the past of, monks, they're not in the world or of the world, so, just forget it. And that will definitely change. I appreciate very much your way in the world. Thank you.
I think it's pretty safe to say I'm one of the few that's glad to see you leave. I live in Denmark. So I'm really thrilled to get back in Amorati.
Nice one.
Hi, I'm very nervous. I've sat with you a bunch of times, and it's always been very, very interesting. Thank you for making Buddhism funny and making it come alive. Prior to Insight, I came from the Zen tradition, which I never really got a hold of, and I guess I don't have to get a hold of it. Yeah, so thank you for your teachings. And somebody brought up the day long on the solstice a couple of winters ago, and that was a really powerful day for me. There was the moment of the death thing was very, very powerful. I was going through an illness myself, and just letting things rise and fall away has been a real saving grace for me. And thank you for that. And also, there was a woman in the audience that day who was actually dying. And I remember that she wanted to talk about it with her family. And her family was like, no, we can't deal with this. And I don't remember your advice exactly to her, but it was really wonderful. And so, thank you.
I don't remember either.
Ajahn, we haven't had a lot of time together because it's usually a far drive for me to come to some of your day-longs. But I wanted to express my gratitude for your teachings, and I'm very grateful for Dharma Seed and Spirit Rock and Amaravati and Abhayagiri's websites, where I can still access your teachings even though you may not physically be here. But it's been a joy to be in your presence when I can. And so I thank you very much.
Ajahn Amaro, I just felt this was definitely an important time to thank you for all of your wonderful teachings. I am blessed enough to be on staff here, and we had a little ceremony with you the other day, and Jack came up with a really lovely gift for you. And you said, this gift is so perfect it ought to be illegal, which I thought was a great line. And I've just been sitting here thinking that the example that you set for all of us of the teachings and how to embody them is such a tremendous blessing for us that it should be illegal. And also somebody mentioned the chanting. I had the opportunity to go to Bodh Gaya in India where the Buddha was enlightened recently, and I took my iPod with the chanting with me of the Bayagiri monks, and I sat under the Bodhi tree and put the little earbuds in my ears and listened to that chanting, and it was really moving, and I thought of you, and I carried all of the Bayagiri monks with me there, and I'm very sorry to see you go, but I will definitely carry you in my heart and continue to listen to the chanting. I've gone to Tuesday night in Berkeley a lot where we chant, and I've always enjoyed it. Boy, I had one other thing I was going to say, but I'm forgetting what it was. Anyway, it's just been. Actually, it was that your leaving is really going to sort of leave our community, leave a big gap in our community, and I'm realizing that it's up to us to step into that, into that void as best we can, but we will certainly fall short. Thank you. Sorry, the last thing was I went to Amaravati for a retreat with Ajahn Amaro in September, and I saw the kuti that I imagine you might be living in, which is really nice. So I think you'll have a pretty good experience there.
So it's also right in the middle of the monastery, so it's like the center of the bullseye.
Exactly. But anyway, enjoy and thank you.
Thank you.
Like so many here, I just want to offer my thanks to you for all these wonderful years and all these wonderful teachings that you have shared with me and my family and all of us. I was thinking back to when I think I first met you, must have been the late 90s, 96 or 97. I had just moved back from living in Thailand for 10 or so years, where I was very busy with all kinds of projects and development work and this and that, but hadn't actually made it to the monasteries to sit. My friend Paul was going down to the south and coming back with stories about sitting and not swatting the mosquitoes. And so we moved back to San Francisco around the same time, and he began giving me tapes and saying, well, why don't you come, this week? Ajahn Amaro is in San Francisco. I'm like, who? Oh, well, all right. So we drove along together, and that was the first of one wonderful, many, many opportunities to listen and to learn from you. And being here at Spirit Rock, I was also recalling about 9.5 years ago when I was here and very, very pregnant with my first son, who is now 9 or so. And I think the retreat was something along the lines of death and dying.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, it was both terrifying and amazing and ultimately very, very joyful to be meditating on death and dying while carrying my 8-month-old baby. And those lessons have been very, very helpful to me. We had on our refrigerator one of the teachings of the Buddha about how sickness aging and sickness and death are inescapable. And I remember my niece looking at it with some concern, and I had just overcome had a physical condition myself, and for the first time when I had my own condition and I was looking at that, it was transformed from just being words to realizing how liberating those teachings were, because I realized, this is actually what's supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get terribly ill. I don't have to fight it and think, why me? It's it's all been figured out before. And I think this is what my teacher has been also trying to tell us many times. So I'm very grateful to you for all your teachings, for the blessing here, for blessing my first son, second child, never quite made it back up to Abhayagiri, but I think he benefits from the blessings as well that you have pour out through the community and that reach us. And so, yes, just wanted to say thank you so much for all of that, and go well and be well.
So I want to acknowledge that it's just about 5, and we'll do a couple more, mostly because I know some of you are parked in, and it's not fair if you're planning to go other places, although I would quite happily sit and listen to. It's like the waves of the ocean, on a good day. Where's the surfer again? Where did that, It's really beautiful set of waves. So anyway, just a couple more, please.
Thank you. I attended your one day on illness and dying last year, and when I read a couple of weeks ago that you were going to be going to England, for some reason I was compelled to go home immediately and register for this retreat. I wanted to see you one more time before you left. And I shared with you earlier today about my grief, and I thank you for listening to me, and I thank you for hearing me. And you really helped me to understand how to be with my grief. And also, you were the first person that ever said that I made a mistake. And I think that's true. I think that's you spoke the truth, and I think that is something that I need to also address in myself. Thank you.
Ajahn Amaro. The thing that it comes to me to say is, back a ways, I helped work on the vision statement for Spirit Rock, and one of the parts of the circle was monasticism. And even though I myself have a background in monasticism, it was like over in Asia. And I realized that you have woken up that part of the circle for us as a community, that you gave it a vibrancy and a light and humor, and that woke up that peace, which will always be here for us as a community, because you embodied it with your humanity. And I'm really grateful. And also, my incredible love of nature and seeing your love of nature and sharing time in nature was really big for me. And I pray that you do not, I ask the Dharma protectors that you may not always have to be in the bullseye, but that sometimes you may be given some time in nature alone.
Well, the trick is hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We need that teaching before you go.
So last.
This is my first time coming to Spirit Rock, and also my first time meeting you. So I would like to thank you for your teaching today. I'm a bit slow, so I'm sure this wholesome seed from your teaching will germinate one day, maybe in the future. And so I would like to thank you for that.
And Ajahn Amaro, when we first got the land here from the Nature Conservancy more than 20 years ago, there was, as Spirit said a moment ago, there was an intention not only to have a connection with the monastic community. I have great love for for the way the monastic community represents and carries the teachings for these 2,500 years and so forth, to have this on the land or in some way connected. And when I talk about the monastic life to people, my experience is that the most important of all the monastic rules, and you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that the most important of all the monastic rules isn't celibacy, although that has its place, and other kinds of disciplines, but it's really the rule that you can't eat anything unless it's put into your hands that morning by somebody within a couple of feet of your body, within one arm's length of your body. You can't store food, you can't go live in a hut in the mountains and grow a garden. And what it means is that you not only have to develop a relationship between yourself and the lay community, but that somehow you have to offer something as a monk or a nun of teachings or embodiment or reminder, so that the people in the society around you feel it and want to feed you. And that interdependence from the very first, going forth of the Buddha is carried by you. And I feel that you have brought it here to us at Spirit Rock, not to speak of sitting through hundreds of hours of meetings. Meetings are kind of the ascetic practice of the West, right? In India, you have beds of nails and things, and here you sit through meetings and so forth. As a carrier, not just of the monastic tradition, but of what everyone has said, of a kind of graciousness and humor and deep wisdom. But somehow you've woven that together with a lay community that has served us all, and I think will continue. We now have a relationship with Abhayagiri and celebrate Abhayagiri's, not only its success, but its connection with the broader lay community here. And in a way, it's sowing the seeds for Dharma for a very, very long time in the West that you've done. And you've certainly done that here. And it's beautiful. It's really, really a blessing. And I don't know quite how to thank you in this moment. Nonetheless, there's a way in which I certainly want us to bow to Ajahn Amaro and maybe to sing to you or chant or something, something awfully sweet as a gratitude. But Anicca vata sankhara Ubhatawa yadamino upakitawa niruchanti Desang upasamo sukho. 2 more times. Anicca vata sankhara Ubhatawa yadamino upakitawa niruchanti Desang upasamo sukho. Anicca vata sankhara Ubhatawa yadamino upakitawa niruchanti Desang upasamo sukho. All things that arise pass away. All things that come into being, they arise for a time and then they vanish. To understand this and bring your life into harmony with this is the cause of true happiness. There is another verse, an ancient chant that has a similar meaning that perhaps we could offer to you as you leave.